All right, my little bar rats, good evening on this Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025. I know I look a mess. I apologize. Thought I looked better, but whoever I am, I'm Rick Barrett, and I am here to guide you through the mess that is the internet today. Hitting all four quarters of the internet. This is Rickcast, and if you like what we're doing, give me a like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell to let me know that you agree. You don't even have to agree, but just like the point of view that I'm coming from. I am going to ask for some prayers out there because my wife she had been not feeling the best for the last couple of days, and then we took her to the doctor because it was getting worse, and yeah, she has the flu. So just I'm hoping with the lead time that I can get to the weekend and just kind of sleep it out where I don't leave the bed for 2 days. Well, for the hour, except to go to church and then go back to bed for 2 days. But when you can feel it coming on, like you get the headaches a little bit, like, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. But as soon as the nurse was like, yeah, she's got the flu, I went, son of a bitch. It's coming. That's what I know. I know it's on the way. So I know it's coming. I know it's going to be here. Just pray that it doesn't hit really like hard for 2 days. I know I get like a 3 to 5 day lead time, depending on depending on the strength of stuff. Now I already take 3, 4, 5,000 international units or whatever you want to call it of vitamin D. I take about 2,000 whatever of vitamin C. I take vitamin A. I take zinc. So hopefully that'll fight it off a little bit. But yeah, I know it'll be here. It'll be here. So let's just fingers crossed that A, it's not that bad, and B, I can kind of skate it into Saturday. That would be the best case. That would be the best possible scenario. So it is what they right. My wife and I were joking. It was either gonna be like measles or COVID or something like that, but no. Tamiflu, yep, yeah. I do have the effervescent tablets on standby, so when it does hit, I'm gonna go right to those. So crotchety, you and me, we're on the same page. Those things work like magic. The effervescent tablets, put them in there and you drink it up, and the fizzy drink, it's great, man. But yes, I appreciate the helps with the things. All right, we got some fun stories for you today. We still have a show. And guys, I even if I do get it, I'll hit the effervescent tablets and I'll power through for an hour for you guys. Because that's what we do here, right? We do things. So we are going to get this show done today. We are going to talk about Rosie O'Donnell. See you later. She's out of here. At least she keeps her promises. She's off to Ireland. Some people are saying RIP Ireland, but I'm a positive person. I like to look at things on the positive side. Maybe she'll drive out all the Muslims. Maybe they'll be like, what's the meme? Ugh, brother, ugh. They're gonna look at her and be like, we can't be here no more, and then they just leave. So that could be like a reversal. It could be the greatest thing. You could attribute that to Trump. Trump gets the win by sending Rosie over to Ireland. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about inflation going down. We mentioned it a little bit, but there was an official report today. These are good numbers. These are really good numbers. And it's a shame that Trump wastes his time with stupid things when he should just be promoting the wins. Like egg prices are down, inflation is down, and all of these other things. I have a St. Patrick's and the snakes joke ready for the Rosie story. Don't worry about it. But we'll talk about that. Next, we'll talk about Tesla being designated as a terrorist organization, positives, negatives, and how this is furthering the cult of Trump and Elon, and it's getting ridiculous at this point. And then finally, we got two stories after that. Snow White premiere has been scaled back because this movie is the Titanic, but not the box office Titanic, the real life Titanic. We're all kind of just waiting. Next week is when the Rachel Zellweger Snow White comes out, and it's kind of like we've seen. Critical Drinker put it perfectly today. We see the iceberg. We all see it. We know it's going to be a disaster. but we're all just kind of holding on and just bracing for impact. And that's kind of what's taking place here. So it is what it is in that regard. So we have that. And then finally, I had this absolutely wacky story coming out of the Amazon. It's absolutely just wackadoo. And it's this story about how there's a climate summit in the Amazon, and they're clearing out hundreds of thousands of acreage of supposedly precious trees to do it. It's mind-numbingly insane. So I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. So we have, once again, great show. Looking forward to it. I do have a fun video for you guys to start off the show. It's not really what I would call a hot take, but it's I saw this morning, and I thought my crew on Rickcast would really like to see how this goes. So I want you to pay attention, and I want you to think about your answer long and hard, because it is a very, very thought-poking exercise. Now you have to excuse this gentleman because he is a boomer
Here,
and he does not know how to hold the camera. So the camera is up in his nose like this. And I guess Santa Claus, in between toy runs, turns into a raging leftard. But once again, listen very slowly, and I want you to tell me your answer in the comment section down below. Now, you folks can play along at home if you are watching in the replay. If you are watching in the replay, let me know what you think in the comment section down below as well. Get it, Santa Claus?
here's today's question to all you loyal MAGA.
I like how this guy pretends like I have to make my voice deeper to make this sound like a more authoritative question. Just talk in your high voice, buddy. Own it like I do.
If America were invaded, what part of America are you willing to give up to stop the war?
Now, see, he thinks this is some kind of mind-provoking question because of obviously the ceasefire in Ukraine, where the Ukrainians are going to have to give up the land bridge. And Zelensky is like, we not give up land bridge. We fight. And he's like, because he doesn't want to die. Buddy, my answer's simple. You're getting Vermont. Take Vermont. If these United States were invaded and they took over Vermont, you can have it. Take it. You know what? You can just take Vermont. I don't even care. It is such a Vermont or Minnesota. You can have one of those two. Don't even care about the rest. That's not even a hard question. Oregon, you can have that. You can have Washington. California, you can have the entire West Coast. It doesn't bother me. And I don't think he understands how ready the right is to answer this question, because he's expecting in his mind that some, make America great again, Trump-a-maniac is sitting there. And then all of a sudden, he can have Canada. Easy. That's why we wanted it to be our 51st state. You guys can have it. This guy thinks that some Magite is sitting in his car or something at lunch, and he reads this and he goes, you know what? I've never thought of it this way. Yeah, I was 100% for the Ukraine ceasefire, which would end the war. But then this fat bald guy who looks like he's a knockoff, he's a Timu Santa, asked me about what part of the country I didn't want to give up. And then my opinion changed. Said nobody ever. But hey, at least he got to you got your moment of 15 minutes. You made it on Rickcast, buddy. So congratulations. Obviously, your mission was accomplished. But I mean, come on. Vermont, California, Oregon. You want Chicago? I mean, we'll give you Chicago. We'll keep the rest. You can take Gary, Indiana. I don't care. You want what's another one? Vermont, I said you can have Delaware. Nobody really cares about Delaware. Like, if they invaded Delaware and took it, I don't think we would really worry about it. It's close to Washington. Yeah, no, it's tiny. Nobody cares. Seriously, what state do you want? I'll give it to you as long as it's not Texas. If it's not like even I'm with Brian. You want to take Austin? You can like airlift it out of Austin, and you know you can airlift Austin out of Texas. You can keep it. I don't give a crap. Yeah, right. Take Detroit. Can we negotiate Memphis? Do you want Memphis? We can give you that one. You want New Mexico? You can have New Mexico. I'm cool with it. You know, it doesn't really give us much anything anyway. It's a beautiful state. It is the land of enchantment, but it is a liberal hellhole. You can just ask Brian in our chat room. But you can have New Mexico. Hell, you could have Arizona or Nevada. I don't care. Like, seriously, you think that's going to be such an impactful question that it's going to knock my socks off and I'm going to go, oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't end this war with Russia. Maybe we should just fire nukes into Russia. These people are, he did sign an executive order. These people are retarded. It's ridiculous. It's so bad. It's so bad. All right. I had one more hot take. Do I have it? I should have it around here. I'm sorry. I'm going to start blaming my upcoming flu on anything I don't do right. Why aren't you doing that? I got the flu. It's somewhere. Let's see. Did that come on? Tell me I kept it. Yes, I did. You guys are going to like this one. It's going to be worth it. 2 seconds here. 2 seconds. Just me. When Rick Cast, you know what? If we can get Rick Cast to 100,000 subscribers and I start getting monetization, I'll go get Tommy back. I'll get Tommy back and he'll be my producer again. So yeah. Remember when the South tried to get away from the whole rest of the US? So the other places, they're just not important. They're just not that important to me. I'm really not married to them. You guys are like, oh, we have to be a nation. If I don't ever go to New York again, I don't think I'm going to be upset about it. If I don't ever go to California again, I think I'm going to be good. I've never been to Colorado, and outside of some really nice people that live there, that state could literally go into a sinkhole, and I could give a crap. So it is what it is. Yeah, I'd have to get to 100,000 and make some money before I can get Tommy back. But I want him back. So let's see here. You guys are gonna like the story. One last hot take before we get to it. That's right, folks. This is a legit story from today. This is not like 3 years ago. Trigger control is always important, especially with your pets. From CTV News, dog shoots man in bed, paw stuck in the trigger. Of course, he's an American dog owner. Was shot by his pet after it jumped on his bed and set off a loaded gun, police said Wednesday. There's a lot in that sentence that is not really right. Why is there a loaded handgun on the bed? How can your dog, it must have been a Taurus, right? Must have been, no, it was a SIG. I bet you we find out it was a SIG P320. It wasn't even the dog. It just shot him. Oh, Memphis, Tennessee. Speaking of Memphis, Tennessee, he was asleep beside his female partner. I'm glad we cleared that up. When he was shot early Monday morning, escaping with a graze to his left thigh that was treated in the hospital. The dog, a year-old pit bull named Oreo. That dog is, okay. The pit bull named Oreo got his paw stuck in the trigger guard and ended up hitting the trigger. So, see, the dog Oreo violated one of the 4 universal gun safety rules, huh? Keep your paw off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Apparently, Oreo had a different selection of rules. When you're an animal, the 4 universal gun safety rules, they don't really apply to you. That dog sounds like it already has some tactical training because it was able to shoot and miss. Or he's like most gun owners and doesn't know how to shoot. It did not specify the type of weapon and fired and recorded the incident as an accidental injury to avoid the guy getting a ticket for a negligent discharge by his dog. Guy's never living that down, by the way. While gun violence is prolific in the United States, cases of animals shooting humans are rare. I remember I covered this 2 years ago. A German Shepherd dog shot and killed a 30-year-old man in Kansas after it stepped on the hunting rifle. I don't get these. The dog steps on the rifle and the trigger goes off. Like, it's not that pronounced. Am I wrong here? Let me know in the comment section. You know, you can't step on a trigger and have the gun go off. It just doesn't make sense to me. In 2018, a 51-year-old man from Iowa was shot in the leg by his pit Labrador mix. I think we're seeing a pattern. I think really the message not about like dogs shooting owners, it's pit bulls shooting owners. Even pit bull mixes, man, you're not safe. You're not safe. Local news station Fox 13 Memphis cited Tennessee victim's girlfriend, who was not named, as saying she was sleeping when the gun went off. The dog is a playful dog, and he likes to jump around and stuff like that, and it just went off, she said. Her lesson from the incident, keep the safety on or use a trigger lock. Good. I'm glad we were able to shoe in some gun safety there with some mandatory trigger locks. What do you listen? What do you think the odds are that she shot him and she's blaming the dog? Right? Maybe she was upset. Maybe she shot him, missed, and then she said, "Oh, Pookie, the dog shot you." He was sleeping. He don't know who shot him. All I'm saying is he was sleeping and the gun went off. Now, just like people blame farts on the dogs, this poor dog's getting blamed with attempted homicide. Dog doesn't know what's going on. I think that's what happened. We'll never know. We'll never, because she's quick to be like, oh, you should always use a gun safe and a trigger lock and all these other things. The gun just went off. It's crazy. You sure about that? You sure about that? Okay. I don't know. Is there a dog attorney out there? Maybe we can get Matt Murdock to represent him. Right? That I'd be sleeping in a different room, buddy. I think it might be time. I don't trust the dog or the girlfriend. Everybody's a suspect. Everybody's a suspect now. But we can laugh about it because nobody got injured and nobody got killed. And I'm thinking she's blaming. I really think she's blaming the dog. I really do. Or I don't even think it was. She might not have even intentionally tried to kill him. Maybe she was moving the gun, right? She was like, oh, the gun, he left the gun on the bed, and she picked it up, and she might have actually pulled the trigger and it went off. And then she was like, the dog did it. There's a lot of scenarios here that I'm thinking about. Do that? We're not going to do that? Okay. There's a lot of scenarios here that I can see that is not just the dog jumping on the bed and perfectly getting inside the trigger guard and then magically pulling the trigger and having it go off. That's a lot for me. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Have I watched too many true crime movies? I probably have. I probably have. But hey, it makes for an interesting discussion, especially because nobody was hurt. This is Rickcast. I am Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Do what the scrolling bar at the bottom of the show tells you. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. Next story up, we got to count this as a win for Trump, I guess. Rosie O'Donnell flees the U.S. after Trump win and won't return until it's quote-unquote safe for all citizens to have equal rights. This is just one of these examples of these limousine liberals who have all of these things. I can't look at the chat room. I got to start this segment again. Lou. That's so good. Word on the street. All the puppy pals. They're getting the defense team together. They're getting to. I don't know why. That just got me good. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, man. My dog heard it from another dog. Heard it from another dog. Girlfriend did it, bro. Absolutely. 100%. It's out. They're out for the Bulldogs. That's what they're doing. Bulldogs' lives matter, homie. Oh, let me reset because we got this next segment. Next segment up. Rosie O'Donnell flees the U.S. after Trump win and won't return because she is a limousine liberal. And if she had the ability, Like, she thinks these United States is so unsafe that she has to flee. Isn't that kind of a spit in the face of the people that are actually in danger? Like, so long, everybody. It's not safe for us, but instead of helping and, fighting for the cause, I'm going to get in my jet and go to a different country. See ya. I mean, it's complete and utter ridiculous nonsense. But you can hear it from herself.
And it's beautiful.
Also, RIP to the Irish. Right around St. Patrick's Day, too. There's going to be a bunch of people at door with, like, the canes to try and drive the snake out of Ireland as she's sitting there. Imagine this. Look at our little town. Right? Isn't that right, Dylan? Oh, yes, it's a beautiful little town here, isn't it? Yeah. What the hell is that? It's Rosie O'Donnell, like Godzilla. Brrr, just smashing towns, smashing buildings, and just destroying everything in her path. Gross.
And it's beautiful and warm, not physically. It's actually
shut the blank up about the weather. You chose to live there. You could have moved to Florida. You could have moved to Belize, but you virtual signaled and you went to Ireland. Shut up and deal with it.
Actually quite cold. Moved here on January 15th, and it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say. The people are so loving and so kind, so
That's because you can't understand them. They're actually saying the nastiest things in the world to you, but they're saying it with an Irish accent, so it sounds great. Oh, you big fat whale. Yeah, oh, you're so great. And she's like, oh, thank you. No. Oh, it's pretty much like when you come down to the South and somebody says, bless your heart. Yeah.
welcoming. And I'm very grateful. In the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents, and that's what's going on, and that's where I've been and what I've been doing. And although I was never someone who thought I would move to another country, that's what I...
Yeah, bro. The years have not been kind. When you are just constantly angry about things, it wears on you.
I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old child. And here we are. Here we are. I miss my other kids. I miss...
Nobody cares. You chose to do this. You weren't exiled. You're not Napoleon. They didn't put you on a tiny little island in the middle of the Mediterranean. You chose Ireland. You left. Shut up and deal with it. Nobody feels bad for you. You have the ability to do so. You chose to go to a wealthy first world country to hide for 5, 6, whatever, how many years, hide, quote unquote. She'll be back in a year. She'll be back in a year because she'll be like, oh, the weather was so bad or some stupid thing like that.
My friends, I miss many things about life there at home. And
you're not in a different planet. This is not the Martian. It's the same. You're in the West. Everybody speaks with a little bit of a fast accent over there, but it's not dramatically different. You have different colored money, and they drive on the wrong side of the world, drive on the wrong side of the road, and everybody's completely wasted 24/7. But outside of that, it's pretty much just like Boston.
Find a home here in this beautiful country.
There's plenty of them. There's this show on Roku called like Tiny Irish Homes. I watched it for a while because I was bored. There's plenty of beautiful houses there. Now she doesn't want to like do the work and fix them. She wants this like brand new,
And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
You can stay there. You can stay there and nobody will care. You can stay there until you pass on from this world, whenever that is, 10, 20, 30, 50 years. Nobody will care. This idea that you're going to return like Douglas MacArthur back to Japan, or no, what was it? The Philippines? You're going to return like MacArthur? Nobody cares about you, Rosie. Nobody cares. You could actually stay there. You really could. But you know what? She's not coming back anytime soon because these liberals just set themselves up, man.
For very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level. That's true.
So, real setup. That's the Irish Prime Minister. And it's kind of ironic that she announced this today when he was there, because the joke was he's in the Oval Office before the press gets in there and they're like, yes, Mr. Trump, we need to talk. Yes, this whole Rosie O'Donnell thing, it's not going to work for us. She's eating our GDP. Like, we can't do this thing anymore. Yeah, you have to take her back. You have to take her back, sir. Whatever you need. You want 10,000 bottles of Guinness, you've got it. But we cannot have Rosie here anymore. So, as you can tell, because he's wearing a green tie, because that's how we show our countries now. But that's the guy with Trump is the Ireland's prime minister. And that's why I got the question.
That question.
Mr.
Do you know you have
Are you expecting?
Do you know who she is?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You better off not knowing.
President Trump, I'm too big.
Ireland.
I mean, set himself up perfectly. And the jokes literally write themselves. Right? Why would you let Rosie O'Donnell in? He's like, I don't know who that is. Who is that? Is that a concern of ours? We let 10,000 Muslims in, but we shouldn't let her in. Oh, okay. So, Rosie. You know, that's a problem with liberals, man. They're just miserable. Most are just so miserable all the time. No wonder nobody wants to be around you. Like, nobody wants to be around you. I've left because I don't feel safe. Then move to Wisconsin. Right? Isn't she gay? Move to Key West like all the other gay people. You'll be fine. I think she is. She's a lesbian, right? Move to Key West with all the other lesbians. That's where they live. And then it'll be sunny and warm and nobody will ever have to see you again. All right. Moving on. That's not mean. It's true. That's where all the lesbians move to. They all move there. That's the one, like, all you got to do is watch the New Year's Eve shows when they show Key West. They got more gay pride flags than anywhere else in the country. Bro, I can only imagine. The meetings that have been. I can imagine a little bit because one of my part-time jobs right now, while I'm trying to get this thing on the air, it is full of liberals, bro. I have to bite my tongue I have to bite down on my tongue a lot in these meetings. They were the last meeting I was in, Brian, they were talking about movies and they were all talking about how Conclave was such a great film. And one lady was like, well, the Pope's in the hospital, so we might get a conclave of our own. Notice the accent and everything is very specific. And I'm thinking to myself, it's cool. I mean, that's just my religion. And, you know, I wouldn't wish death on anybody for any reason. But this lady's hoping he dies so they can talk about conclave. And I'm just going, I hate this job. I'm like, there's a reason why I didn't want to go back into that specific sector. But I have really good managers and the job's pretty good. So I just have to bite my tongue. And none of them will watch the show. So I'm not even worried about it. Anyway, moving on. Next story of the night. Let's see if I do this right. I did not. Here it is from the staradvisor.com. U.S. inflation eased more than expected in February, and eggs have actually gone down. Inflation eased more than expected in February, a welcome sign for the Federal Reserve as it grapples like a wrestler with the prospect of higher prices and slower growth as a result of President Donald Trump's trade war. Pew, pew, pew. The consumer price index was up 2.8% from last year, or from a year earlier, after rising another 0.2% on a monthly basis. That was a step down from January's surprisingly large 0.05 increase and came in below economists' expectations. All right, moving pictures, go.
news on the economy and really the number one issue for many Americans, the cost of living. So we just learned that consumer prices in February increased by 2.8% year over year, 0.2% month over month. Both of these figures were a step in the right direction, and both were better than expected. So this is definitely very encouraging to see, because it's going to, I think, relieve some fears that inflation was perhaps re-accelerating, because this actually breaks a streak of 4 straight months where I think you could see it on the chart all the way to the right, where the inflation rate was going in the wrong direction, right? It was going higher and higher. Finally, we're seeing it
going higher like a Creed song, baby. So it's a nice thing to see. And this is what I was talking about yesterday instead of the Tesla stuff, which ironically enough, we're going to move on to on our next segment. You know, talking about the Tesla stuff and talking about all these other things that are kind of stupid. Just focus on the wins, man. Everybody cares about the economy. In the end, nobody cares about the DEI stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't care about the DEI stuff. A lot of people don't care about all the culture stuff. They just want the economy to get better. And this is an easy thing to highlight. Even the Department of Education thing, you would think people would get mad at it. And I've made the argument not against shutting down federal agencies. I want them all shut down. My argument is be careful when you do it, because it could have ramifications in the midterms. Now, if the economy continues to improve, Trump could shut down every agency in the federal government if people have more money and they have less stress in their life. You know what? That's going to get him. That's going to get him. The beer price issue. He's going to fix it, because one day he's going to be like, I found a way to fix the beer issue. My man G Money keeps hitting me up on my phone on Truth Social. Truth Social, beautiful platform. I love it. He said, what are you going to do about the beer prices? And I say, I will, G Money. I will fix it. And I bring Dylan Mulvaney in. Here she is. He, whatever it is. And this is how we're going to fix it. Bud Light, baby. Bud Light in every home. I don't know. But yeah, it's good news and you'll take it, but it's not good metric because they don't include energy prices and other stuff that matter in everyday life. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Also, because my point in this segment is to say these are the things he needs to highlight, right? He gets too bogged down in the stupid stuff, because this stuff creates confidence. Markets are more about confidence than anything else. A lot of times, if people don't have confidence in a market, they're not going to buy or sell or whatever the case may be. If people are more confident that the economy is getting better, the market, I know I will very rarely quote the stock market on this show, but I will use that as an example. Stock market had a rally today because this inflation news. So that's the reason why they put these numbers out. That's the reason why every president always tries to pump up those numbers, like Matthew McConaughey, right? Got to pump them rookie numbers up. So it's a good thing. And really, yeah, the whole point of it is he's got to get away from every single day doing like wacky shenanigans stuff. It's fine. It's been 50 days. Get it out of your system. Do the wacky shenanigans stuff. And like twice or 3 times or 4 times a week, do the wacky things to give us stuff to talk about. But on like a daily basis, let's talk about like, apparently West Virginia's outlawing red dyes or whatever in there. And RFK's making a big deal out of it because he's going to demand the removal of like, let's highlight the stuff people care about. The social justice, and especially since you're never getting the Epstein files. You're never getting the Epstein files or the JFK files or any other file that you thought you were going to get. Pam Law and Order Bondi has successfully just dodged this bullet. It's never happening. So at least talk about the stuff that people care about, being able to afford groceries or being able to afford gas or food or whatever the case is, right? No more $20 eggs for sure. We're not focusing on that anymore. They tried to do that and then they're like, actually, eggs have dropped. Yeah, I know. Kash Patel promised. Not Kash Patel. I mean, Kash did, because he did the podcast tour for 4 years. I'm going to shut down the FBI on day 1. But remember Glenn Beck? Remember? 10 days after Kash Patel is confirmed, we're getting the Epstein files. Sure about that? You sure about that? I did see that. I had somebody say that that is not true. That story has been debunked. So I'm doing a little more research on it to see if it is been confirmed. Honestly, chat, I wouldn't, if I was Cash, I would do that too. If I was Cash Patel, I would want a direct line to the president. I would absolutely want that. I wouldn't want to have to go through Pam Bondi because it's going to get manipulated. It's going to be in a really bad spot. So I would definitely not do that. So we'll see about that. Yeah, well, unfortunately, the state of Texas is going to do everything it can to soak out every single dime while we have this joke of a Congress there. Ugh. I love Texas, but the government here is terrible. The government is absolutely terrible. We should be happy it's only every 2 years. If it was every year, we probably would be California by now. So, oh yeah, what Lawn Bunny says she's squashing a lot of grand jury impediment. What's the other girl, Abiba or whatever her name is? She's running around saying that we're gonna get the Epstein files. They just keep saying it, and they're talking about this, that. Just get it out of your head, folks. Get it out of your heads. But don't worry, Dan Bongino is gonna be there in a week. So anyway, so I just wanted to highlight the inflation issue because it's an example of what this administration should be doing. Right? There's a place for the wacky stuff and the JD Vance memes and all that because that's fun, right? We like to have fun. I like to have fun. I'm hip. I'm with it. Ducka, like all that kind of stuff. But in the end, you can have fun as long as you can deliver the goods, right? As long as you're like, look, inflation's going down. Look, price of eggs are going down. Look, I'm going to get the price of beer down. Then people are like, go do whatever the hell you want. That's all people want. They just want wins. They want things to kind of stack up and be like, oh, inflation's going down? Cool. Gas prices are going down? Cool. Yeah, Trump, I don't give a crap what you do. Just keep doing that. So, yeah, and then Pam Bondi is, nobody is, yeah, there is no Epstein files. Yeah. I get it. And that's why we talked about it yesterday. And I continue to warn people, be careful of your quote unquote conservative influencers who are pushing the, Thomas Massey's wrong. Even the guys on Crowder. I like the guys on Crowder. They're not great they're not perfect on everything. They're human. But Jared or whatever, the CEO, his number 2, his Ed McMahon, if you will, good guy. But he's like, Massey, you're wrong. What? And all these guys go to the same talking point. Where's your bill to fix this? You freaking morons. That's not the point. Massey said, and you guys watched the video yesterday, so you know I'm not making it up. Massey said, it's in the stupid law that we're supposed to get 1% cuts on the budget every time we push, like we're supposed to get a 1% cut on specific areas every time we push a CR through, and this guy ignored it. So I'm trying to hold us up to the actual law. But Bongino and this guy, they're like, you're not seeing this. You just pass it and then fix it later. It goes to September, Rick, then fix it. Yeah, because every time a bill gets passed, it always gets fixed later after you pass it. Right? Do we remember Nancy? You gotta pass your bill. You gotta pass your bill to read your bill type nonsense. Massey is correct. Massey is correct, and anybody that says Massey is incorrect is wrong on this issue. 100% wrong. And they're doing it to stay in Donald Trump's good graces. They're doing it to stay in his good graces. And if you can't see that, the government is not designed. The founders did not design the federal government to be a rubber stamp. Oh, does Donald Trump or Joe Biden want his continuing resolution passed? Sure, I represent the citizens of the 5th District of Kentucky, but if Donald Trump wants it, boom, here you go. Forget my constituents. Yeah, it's exactly right. there's a phrase, be scared of bipartisan agreements. Because if those idiots in DC can agree on something, that means you guys are all screwed. So it's 100% correct. 100% correct, guys. My chat over here on YouTube is always just locking it down. Oh, MDD2299. Yes, Massey is the best congressperson in the whole place. We need more Masseys, not less. We do. And I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. When the founders set up the U.S. government, they were thinking of guys like Thomas Massey. Guys who, I don't care about what you want. The people in my district who love me, they don't want me to vote for this bill. So guess what? They said no to the bill. I'm not going to vote for it. Well, you're not being a team player. Don't care. That's not my concern. But yes, that's what we're seeing there. This is Rick Cast. I'm the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell to be a part of this show. And throw your chats in, guys, because I love them. They make this show. I'm not even kidding when I say if you guys don't participate in the show, it's boring because it's just me talking to a ring light for 55 minutes, and nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that at all. They just don't, my man. They just don't. All right. That's no good. Alrighty. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I don't know what to do with my hands. Let's get to this third story of the night. He said he was going to do it yesterday, and he's done it today. Trump has labeled attacks on Tesla stores and vehicles as domestic terrorism. I'm going to give you both sides of the coverage. Let's start with the quote-unquote liberal point of view.
Claiming that protests at Tesla dealerships are illegal. He said to
notice the way it's presented. You've seen it. You've seen the Tesla dealership shot up. You've seen the superchargers on fire. You've seen the violence that's been committed. But News Bunny over here is going to tell you, what did she say? Hold on. What did News Bunny say?
But then you also overnight have this post claiming that protests at Tesla dealerships.
Protests? Oh, we're back to peaceful protests now? Remix.
Are illegal. He said today he would label violence against dealerships domestic terrorism. Now, you know I am judicious in how I play this sound.
Oh, you're such a judicious little news reporter. Yes, you are.
But I think you need to hear it from him.
You're so judicious, honey.
Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. Let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
So just to be clear, you protest a private company, you are labeled by this administration a domestic terrorist.
Remember, if you protest, shoot one up like we saw in Oregon, throw some bricks through the window, maybe go to the Tesla storage place, take all of the wheels off them so they can't. Oh, I love it. Judicious Judy over here is going to tell you she's super judicious. You know, oh yeah, if you're protesting, right? Because protesting, I'm all about it. I love it. Like, it's so great. Ridiculous. If you thought that was bad, check out Fox News.
Racist.
Yes, it's an attack on government, but it's also an attack on this government. What I mean by that is it's an attack on this government that used to be headed by a black man. It's an attack on this government that almost elected a black woman to the highest office in the land. It's an attack on a government that has been more welcoming and more supportive of people who have come to this country in search for a better life.
It's patently absurd for them to say this has anything whatsoever to do with race. It has to do with government largesse. The government is too big, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And so what Elon has been able to do is crack the code. I mentioned earlier that Congress has not been able to do its oversight responsibility for decades because the bureaucracy has been hiding the data. I mean, we didn't know that USAID was funding transgender operas in Peru. I mean, obviously, everyone would have struck that down. So Elon has gotten inside. He is algorithms crawling through the data, as he says. The data doesn't lie. And the American people are with us on this. It is absurd to say that this is anything other than restoring fiscal sanity, and we are long overdue in getting that done. I've talked to Elon about this personally, and many of us have. He has completely pure motives. He's trying to make the government work better for the people, all the people.
So on one side, Elon is great. Don't ever say anything bad about Elon. And on the other, Elon, blow it all up because you hate him. And yes, this is just terrible takes on both sides. So let me read you from the FBI's website, because one of the weird things that domestic terrorism doesn't really have an across the board definition. Different agencies have different ideas of what domestic terrorism actually is. So from the FBI, domestic terrorism in these United States is defined as violent criminal acts committed by individuals or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences, such as political, religious, social, racial, and environmental motivations. These acts are intended to intimidate or to coerce a civilian population or influence government policy and occur primarily within these United States. So, stepping back and trying to be as objective as possible, and I have a master's in Homeland Security in case anybody wants to get credentialed. This loosely fits the definition of domestic terrorism, because these are criminal acts, especially if you use a gun in Oregon, shooting up a Tesla dealership. There have been other ones that have broken glass at Tesla dealerships in various places across these United States. Tesla cars are being targeted. I showed you the video from New York where a guy ran up to the side of it and started banging on it. That could be considered a violent act against somebody or invading their space. So a specific car is in a specific company is being targeted, which is right here. What is the ideological goal stemming from this? What is the ideological bent behind this? Left is mad at Elon Musk for furthering his interest by working with Donald Trump. And they want to show the dismay by committing desperate acts of violence against him. Now, it's political. It's not religious. It may be social. So out of political, religious, social, racial, or environmental, you have 2 out of the 5. You have political and social reasons for this domestic terrorism. The political, working with Trump. The social, Elon and his influence on X. So out of those things, it would. These acts are intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Essentially, what it's doing is it's trying to intimidate people into not buying Teslas. Now, we all know I joke about driving a Cybertruck, even though I would. But that should not come under the cost of threat. No matter what, and I said, I think earlier in the week or late last week, you should have the right to buy an ugly looking Tesla and drive it around without fear of somebody coming after you for their own political reasons. And so if it needs to be generated this way, and unfortunately, because this is happening across multiple state lines, this would be a job for the FBI to step in. Now, the problem is, in places like Oregon, are they going to take action to arrest the people that do it? Now, they'll get 1 or 2 people, but are they going to get enough to dissuade, if that's the right word, further acts of violence against this one company? Once again, you can hate Tesla. That's fine. Hate Tesla all you want. Elon Musk, he's a futurist who, is essentially a seed producer. He's not a father. He just spreads himself all over the place. And so all of these things, he's not a great man. He's a very smart man and he's done some stuff and you can't say anything bad about that. But if you want to buy one of his cars, you shouldn't have to worry about your car getting firebombed or your car getting attacked or the dealer. If you work at a Tesla dealership and you make $40,000 a year, you should be safe in our union of states to be able to go to work and try to sell a crappy Tesla car. That's all that is. And so if you need to label, so what I'm trying to say is, yes, the domestic terrorism label, while it sounds extreme because we've never seen it used on the Republican side before, we've seen it on the left where they designate Catholics as domestic extremists, or terrorists, or they nominate mothers and fathers that go to PTA. Oh, we've seen this weaponization of these labels used against the left. We have a squirmish nature about us right now, right? We have this squirmish nature, like, oh, we don't really know if we want to do this because we don't do it. We've never done it. Even though, as I say, the law should be applied both ways equally. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I understand why some people may be adverse to it. But in the end, I think it's something that should be done, because if not, if the rule of law is not enforced, then what the hell are we doing anyway? So this is Rick Cast. I am the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. And let's get to our last two stories of the night. Second to last story of the night. Oh, sweet, sweet Disney, which is at the same time mucking up the Daredevil. I was talking to a buddy of mine today. He calls the Daredevil Disney series Disney-fied Devil or something like that. What does he call it? Hold on. It was actually pretty funny. I had to stop in my tracks when he sent me that. Diversified Devil. Diversity Devil, he calls him. So Disney is continuing to just absolutely burn money. I don't know where. Maybe they have their own magic Disney printing press, right? So anyway, the long union nightmare that is Snow White is coming to a close, because next week, folks, next Friday, that's right, Snow White gets released. Finally, after 2 years and 1,000 clips of Rachel Zellweger talking, like, get this crap out of here. You know what? Since y'all keep doing that, we're going to this mode. I ain't looking at all that. So Disney scales back Snow White premiere as controversy surrounding film grows, says the report. Looks like this premiere won't be the fairest of them all. Ha ha! Great job, Whitney. Looks like I just read that. After suffering incredible backlash over the forthcoming live-action Snow White, Disney has decided to scale back its usual over-the-top premiere in Los Angeles, reported Variety. Instead, the studio has reportedly opted for a quiet, laid-back party and screening at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, California on March 15th. The Snow White remake has been flooded with controversy, courtesy of Disney and its star, the absolutely poisonous Rachel Zellweger, who everybody's still trying to figure out how in the hell this girl got a movie role anyway. She is a fantastic Broadway actress. She's over-expressional. She's got a halfway decent voice to sing musicals, and you don't get close enough to her to realize how awkward she looks. And granted, I am a fat little guy, so you can say whatever you want about me looks-wise. It's just an objective opinion. How she started in movie roles, everybody's still trying to figure that out. Especially when there has not been one movie that she's been in that has turned a profit. And this is not going to be anything as well. The previews look terrible, dude. They look awful. Now, you have to understand, this movie's been shot at least twice. We're looking at the same thing that Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Captain America, Brave New World, Captain Falcon. They shot this movie. Then they realized, oh no, the backlash is real, because they didn't want to do the dwarves, so they did the 7 magical hippies. Then they went, the movie did not test well. And so they said, we got to reshoot it. So they took out the magical hippies and CGI dwarves. They still didn't hire like real dwarves to act, real little people to act in this movie. They CGI'd in all these dwarfs. And then they tried to change the way it looks, and they gave her a song, and she's just not the fairest of them all. She's not an ugly girl by any means, but this is friggin' Snow White. The damn German thing says she is the fairest. And they've tried to say it. The reason they call her Snow White is because she survived a snowstorm or something like that. That's the reason in this new Disney film that she's called Snow White, even though she's a Polish, is this Hispanic? It's Polish. It's something. I think it's either Mexican or something. She's some kind of Hispanic Latino heritage. But she's half Polish. But she doesn't look it. But anyway, they're like, oh, she's Snow White because she survived a snowstorm. Yeah, I don't call people who survive snowstorms the thing. Like, if somebody survives a tsunami, I don't call them Waveheart. Right? I don't call them the thing that I don't name them by their tragedy. Yeah, the Daily Wire tried to do. I don't think the Daily Wire was ever going to do a Snow White thing, Bellator. I think it was just like most of the other things that the Daily Wire does, just trying to capture the moment. I don't think that it was ever going to go forward. So I think they were trying to float it out there, but I don't think they had the money or the ability to do it. So it is as it is. So this movie is now getting its premiere. It's scaled back a lot. The tracking, this thing called box office tracking, which means they put they track the amount of people that will buy tickets. They forecast, just like everything else, they forecast the estimates. And the initial estimates were in the 50s, 55 to 60 million opening, which is bad. Now it's dropped into the 40s. And they're like, dear Lord, they're saying this movie's cost about 285. Reality, this movie's probably cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $350 million to make. And so this movie would have to make $600 to $700 million to break even. It's not coming close to that. So at this point, people are starting to point fingers like we should have just put this thing on Disney Plus. We should have just shelved it like they did for a couple movies in Universal. They just canceled them. Either way, the company has backtracked so hard that they don't want this young girl, this 22-year-old girl, anywhere near a hot mic because she's proven to be so disastrous that this is probably her last major film. Like there's not going to be another company that's going to want to go anywhere near her because you can't trust her. And regardless of what you think of the Israeli-Palestine conflict, Gal Gadot, if that's how you say it, I think it's Gadot or Gadot. I'm sorry. She's a Jew. She's from Israel. It's like 5 generations in Israel. And Rachel Zellweger is a Free Palestine girl. So these two can't even look each other at the runway without having have you ever seen the two of them together? Gal Gadot she towers over Rachel Zellweger. Rachel Zellweger, she's like a dwarf, and then when you put the two of them, she's like a child. So you have that nonsense, you have that mess. The whole thing is just an absolute train wreck. And you know what? It couldn't happen to a better company. So let's just hold on and see what happens next week. I'll give you my predictions next Thursday and what I think the box office is going to be for it. Here's a hint. It's not going to be good. All right, folks, this is Rick Cast. I'm the aforementioned Rick. This last story would fit under, I used to do a segment in my old radio shows called You Gotta Be Kidding Me. This right here would fit right into one of those You've Gotta Be Kidding Me segments. It's fantastic. I just have to show you. From Newsweek, Amazon rainforest cut down for climate summit highway in the rainforest. Yeah. So this is the B-roll footage. This is the highway that is being cut out right now for the climate summit in the Amazon. They are cutting the highway out for the climate summit in the Amazon to talk about how bad the climate is. You might as well just made a runway out of it. Look how massive this thing is. Look at this thing. This is huge. This is just an absolute massive project that's taking place right now because we need to virtue signal because it's never been about the climate. It's never been about anything else. It's been about virtue signaling. And this is a massive virtue signal. Sweet. Hey, man, this would be awesome. This would actually only be 2 hours of traffic in Houston. Look at how long this thing mowing down all of this. Yeah, how many species died so these people can drive their Escalades quickly to this summit? All of this timber gone, destroyed. And they're just like, yeah, what's the problem? They'll all buy Teslas to drive on it. They won't buy Teslas because Elon Musk is bad. They'll buy the new Jaguar electric cars because Jaguar is good now. And that's how they do it. But that's absolutely amazing, folks. Just the tone. They got to fly to a private airfield, and then they're going to get in these cars, and there's nobody else going to be on this highway. It's going to be a 9-lane superhighway, so they can all go 1,000 miles an hour to get to the summit there. It's absolutely, I mean, it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Yes, tone deaf. But you know what? They've never been about that life. They've never been about understanding anything except what makes their life easier. And G-O-G, just how in the hell can you just be so thick-headed? Well, I guess when you think you have money, you know, gets around it. 2 things to finish up. Question from the chat. Am I using Ground website? I do. I don't have a subscription to it yet. I have thought about it. I like Ground News. I will use their stuff from time to time to see what is trending. And actually, I got the dog shoots the owner story from Ground News. So I like Ground News. I think it's a pretty decent website for what they do as an aggregator. So yeah, I would get a subscription. I just don't have for me, I want to stream live on Minds. That's $8 a month. I'd like to get the subscription to Ground News. That's $8 a month. You just get subscription to death to try and do these things, which is why you actually have to, eventually you got to actually make money to do this. This is why I have no problem telling you people I'll do ad reads as soon as they're given to me, because to do any of this stuff, you actually need money to do it. But I like Ground News. They give you 5 free articles a day, so I use that. But yes, I like Ground News. And from Mendez, remember Sarah Grant, who passed away 2 years ago today. May she rest in peace. That's right, Ryan Grant's wife. For Sarah Grant, eternal rest grant unto her, Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon her. May she rest in peace. Amen. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and with Ryan today. And so that is it for this episode of Rickcast. 2 days until the weekend. Let's hope that for those of you that came in late, my wife just got hit with, was just diagnosed with the flu today. She had been sick for the weekend, but it really got worse last night. She's fine. She's just in bed resting. But if I look worse for wear tomorrow or Friday, that's because I got it. Right now, I don't know. I'm in the early stages. Like she just found out. Obviously I'm upping my vitamin D intake and C and zinc and A and all that stuff to try and maybe fight this off. Yeah. So if you could please pray for Mrs. Barrett, that she recovers quickly. Cause this is a bad one. She only gets the flu like once every 10 years and this one's got her pretty good. So if you could pray for her for a quick recovery. And let's hope that, yeah, let's hope I'm mega boosted. Right. I just made her some chicken soup before I came on air, so she had some of that too. Yep. So I did. We got one. She'll probably have soup tomorrow as well. So it's all good. I'm just saying, if I look rough tomorrow, that's because it's starting. My plan is to get into the weekend where I can hibernate all day Saturday and then try to get like better. But either way, I'll be here because I got the effervescent stuff, and I'll pop some of that and get through the show. There will be a show tomorrow. There will be a show on Friday. I promise you that. Here on Rickcast, I'm Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell for all the fun things to continue to grow this show. The only reason it ever expands is because of you, my people on Rumble, including the wonderful MDD2299. I cheers to you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Cheers to everybody on X. And of course, my YouTube crew. You guys are absolutely doing great. Yeah, if I'm not dead, I will be doing a test for Rumble this weekend. I will absolutely do it because I want to get that thing done so I can actually start doing ad reads and start, accumulating some cash. So thank you, Crouchy, for reminding me. I'm pretty sure I should be able to power through whatever I get because, I'm a dude. I rock. Anyway, I'll talk to you all tomorrow, guys. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.